Marty Friedman goes through his top 5 tips for guitarists. 1. Be original. One thing I've noticed is that a lot of guitar hero types have a lot of people copying them. That's something I don't fit into at all, where music is learned and mastered by mechanics. I'm not taking anything away from those other players by saying that guitar fans tend to want to play like their heroes. And you can get pretty damn close to your heroes by learning all the mechanics. You can go from point A to B and C, sounding like them, if practice those techniques a lot. That's why there are so many guys that sounded like Van Halen after he came out. 2. Ditch the scales. People tend to talk about music in relation to scales, but I don't think that way at all. I think in terms of phrases and melodies, and the interesting little inroads that go from one place to another over a chord or a series of chords. The liberating side of it is that I never had to memorize billions of different scales. The downside is that, if someone asked me to play a particular scale, I couldn't do it, but that never really comes up. The point is making something sound right to your own ears, that way it doesn't have to be a memorized sequence of notes. 3. Try to refrain from playing fast 24/7. Here's a great tip. One thing you want to avoid is playing fast, unless it's absolutely necessary. If it's not needed, then playing fast totally sucks. I hear so many people that are brilliant at playing fast, but the second they end their run, what they play completely negates anything that was cool about the fast stuff. It becomes completely lame. People spend way too long on the mechanical things. 4. Pay attention to vibrato. Vibrato is very important, and there's a way to approach it. Listen to all the types you like and learn. It might be guitarists. For me, it was violins, cellos, and Chinese erhas especially, as well as vocalists. Listen to the waves of how the note is being shaken. Often, a violinist will play a note completely straight with no vibrato, and then with a bit more time start wavering it a little bit. I tend to like that approach. 5. Dissect the music in your own head. You have to be able to hear a melody and dissect it at any time. For example, imagine being in a store and hearing this interesting melody. You need to immediately log that melody into your brain, as well as the chords underneath it. If you don't forget it, you can start messing with it when you get home. I did that a lot as a young guitarist, especially on tour in different countries, learning new ways to sit melodies on top of chords. You really have to log that stuff in your mind and exploit what you've learned as soon as you can. Former Megadeth guitarist Marty Friedman tells RollingStone.com that he is a huge fan of baby metal, saying they sounds like Meshuggah, but with added Japanese pop on top of it. I love aggressive music, death metal and stuff like that, Marty says. But the lyrics just crack me up, the satanic stuff, I mean, really. I can't get into it. I love the sound of the music so much that I'm willing to put up with the lyrics, but why not have that same aggressive sound in something that's a little bit more realistic, you know? He adds, I love the sound of metal, but I've been doing it since I was a teenager, and I felt I needed to do something more unique with that sound. The sound of metal is what I love about it, but the fact that you have to stay within a genre, and you have to be in this really narrow genre, really turned me off. Baby metal, if you strip off that heavy metal guitar stuff, all you have is your basic fun, quirky, Japanese pop stuff. But the interpretation is super metal. To me, it sounds like Meshuggah with Japanese pop on top of it. So for someone like me who's been playing metal forever, it's really fresh to hear. I mean, I can hear another Pantera song, and it's great, but we've heard it before a billion times.